As one of the most popular film franchises of all time, Star Wars has more than its fair share of memorable and iconic moments. Still, for every instance of brilliance in Star Wars, there seems to be an equal number of moments that either have half-baked ideas or just are not as good as they could have been. Whether they are simply concepts that were pushed aside in favor of others, or fully realized deleted scenes, the franchise is unfortunately littered with plenty of scrapped moments that could have been major additions to the films. So I am Gareth here from What Culture Star Wars, and here are 10 scrapped Star Wars movie scenes better than what we got. Number 10, Obi-Wan and JOCASTA Nu discuss Count Dooku, Attack of the Clones. For some reason, George Lucas decided to kill off Darth Maul, a villain with great potential in The Phantom Menace, for a bit at least, and then take over an hour to introduce the new Sith apprentice into that film's follow-up. Apart from a few very brief mentions of being a political idealist by Yoda, Count Dooku is crammed into Episode 2 once Obi-Wan Kenobi is captured by Separatist forces on Geonosis. Although the scene where Dooku tries to pull Kenobi over to the dark side by utilizing their shared bond with Qui-Gon Jinn is enjoyable, an earlier scene had been filmed which definitely better introduced the villain. In the scene, Kenobi and Jedi librarian JOCASTA Nu discuss Dooku and why he left the Order. JOCASTA says that Dooku left due to his faltering loyalty to the apathetic and hypocritical Jedi Council, as well as to the corrupt and crumbling Republic. Nu also makes apt comparisons of Dooku to his former apprentice Qui-Gon, which sets up Dooku to be a wise and noble free thinker for Obi-Wan. So on top of giving the character some much needed backstory, the later reveal to Kenobi that he is now a Sith is more shocking than it otherwise would be. They should have left it in, damn it. Number 9, Kylo Ren meets the Eye of Webbish Bog, The Rise of Skywalker. After the worst title crawl in Star Wars history, where it is anticlimactically revealed that somehow Palpatine has returned, The Rise of Skywalker cuts to Kylo Ren tearing through Mustafar. Ren immediately finds a Sith Wayfinder, which acts essentially as a map to the Sith homeworld of Exegol, and he is then whisked away to find the hidden planet and the Phantom Emperor. Whilst it is good to see Mustafar again, the scene is incredibly rushed. This wasn't always the case though. In the novelization of The Rise of Skywalker, Ren, accompanied by General Hux and Allegiant General Pride, met with the Eye of Webbish Bog, a giant spider-like creature and a former servant of Darth Vader. The creature then eventually tells Ren he is worthy of the Sith Wayfinder and hands it over to Vader's grandson. This scene would have made for a much more gripping and eerie opening to Episode 9, as well as creating a better dynamic between Ren and Hux, who accuses the Supreme Leader of chasing ghosts instead of putting out the fires of rebellion across the galaxy. Number 8, Luke and Biggs, A New Hope. Whilst being a nearly perfect film, something that was missing from the original cut of A New Hope was more of Luke Skywalker's relationship with his Tatooine friend Biggs Darklighter. When the film was initially released in 1977, the two didn't share any scenes until the Death Star battle over Yavin 4, where Biggs gets shot down by Darth Vader. The score swells and cuts to a shocked Luke, yet since the movie didn't set up the pair's relationship at all, the moment felt a bit flat. For the 1977 special edition of the film, George Lucas added a crucial scene back, where Biggs and Luke reunite on Yavin 4 before boarding their X-Wings and attacking the Death Star. While certainly an improvement, Lucas had filmed more scenes between the two which were also cut. In one deleted scene, Luke meets Biggs after leaving Tosche Station, where they discuss the state of the galaxy. Biggs says that he is leaving Tatooine to join the Rebel Alliance, and tries to convince Luke to do the same. But Skywalker can't, since his uncle needs his help on the farm. Had this scene been included in A New Hope, it would have given Biggs' death a bit more weight, as well as help explain why Luke was initially so keen to become a rebel. Number 7, Moff JERJERROD'S Death Star Dilemma, Return of the Jedi. Whilst Return of the Jedi is largely viewed as the weakest of the original trilogy, it also has one of the best final acts in the entire Star Wars franchise. Ominously looming over the forest moon of Endor, the second Death Star, headed by the Emperor himself, was protected by a deflector shield on the moon, making the weapon virtually impregnable. In the theatrical cut, Han Solo and a squad of rebel troops, with some help from their Ewok allies, destroy the deflector shield, leaving the space station vulnerable. Shortly after, Lando Lando Calrissian and X-Wing pilot Wedge Antilles target the Death Star's main reactor, causing the station to explode. However, while still exciting, this sequence could have been much better. In a deleted scene, Palpatine tells Moff JEDI that if the shield generator is disabled, the Death Star should fire on the forest moon. In the scene, Moff JEDI is very apprehensive in following this order, as he does not want to kill his men stationed on Endor. As the shield generator is destroyed, JEDI hesitates before reluctantly ordering Endor's destruction. As well as creating plenty of tension for the fate of the heroes on Endor, this scene would have also demonstrated a compelling, more complex and human side to the individuals of the Empire. Number 6. Phasma's death, The Last Jedi. As one of the most underutilized characters in the franchise, Captain Phasma had less than 4 minutes of screen time across The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, before meeting her anticlimactic end aboard the Supremacy. After a brief battle with Finn, Phasma falls down a seemingly bottomless pit in the burning Supremacy, with the ex-stormtrooper finally embracing his rebel scum identity. Annoyingly, this feeble scene could have been far better. In a deleted scene, Phasma bests Finn, with stormtroopers flanking his position. Finn then exposes Phasma as the one who brought down Starkiller Base's shields in The Force Awakens, which makes the stormtroopers begin to question their captain. Before they can act though, Phasma guns them down only for Finn to shoot her with a heavy blaster. This scene gave some much needed focus on Phasma and Finn, as well as giving the aforementioned The Force Awakens moment some retroactive dramatic significance too. Number 5. The Rebel Alliance is born, Revenge of the Sith. At its core, Star Wars is a political story about people rising up to fight tyranny. So it's fair to say that the founding of the Rebel Alliance is a pretty important piece of the tale. Sadly, this idea has not really been seen in the films, though this wasn't always the case. Shortly before the Empire was formed in Revenge of the Sith, a handful of senators, including Padmé Amidala, Bail Organa, and Mon Mothma, met to discuss the worrying developments around the power-hungry Palpatine and a clearly dwindling republic. After their brief discussion, Organa announces that he is forming an organization, which he hopes will preserve democracy in the galaxy. Everyone agrees to the proposition, but Mon Mothma makes it clear that no one, not even family, can be told. Padmé is clearly uncomfortable with the idea, since this means she will have to hide it from her husband, Anakin. This scene actually demonstrated the genius subtlety that George Lucas was occasionally capable of, so its removal from the film is particularly confusing. Number 4. Kylo Ren tortures Chewbacca, The Rise of Skywalker. Although The Rise of Skywalker is certainly one of the weakest entries in the Skywalker saga, if that wasn't clear already, this concluding chapter still contains some brilliant scenes, even if they were few and far between. One of these moments of brilliance could have come in the torture scene between Kylo Ren and Chewbacca, after the Wookiee is captured on Pasaana, had it not been cut. During the deleted moment, the Supreme Leader would have brutally tormented Chewie both physically and mentally. According to Ray Carson, author of the novelization of The Rise of Skywalker, Kylo was meant to mock Chewbacca about Han Solo's death, as well as go into his mind to see his torment. All Kylo would find though was love for Ben Solo, making the scene even more heartbreaking. This scene of course never made it into the film, though Chewbacca actor Juna Suetamo described working on the scene as very intense and very tough, since Adam Driver had psyched himself to be a real monster through it all. Instead of this, the heroes board Kylo's ship, immediately rescue Chewie and jet off in the Millennium Falcon. Boring. Number 3. Padmé tries to kill Anakin, Revenge of the Sith. In essence, Revenge of the Sith's plot is mostly concerned with Anakin's relationship with his secret wife, Padmé Amidala, and how this ultimately created Darth Vader. Throughout the film, Skywalker and Amidala share a loving yet uneasy bond, with him having visions of his dear wife perishing during childbirth. Swearing to never allow this to happen, Anakin falls to the dark side and becomes Palpatine's most important instrument in wiping out the Jedi, including the younglings. After this, Padmé takes on an increasingly passive role in the film. Apart from expressing her terror to Anakin at the acts he had committed, she does very little to convince her husband he is on the wrong path. This wasn't how it was originally going to be, however. A scrapped concept saw Padmé landing on Mustafar, running to hug her husband, only to pull a dagger on him. Still, even after everything he had done and all of the innocents he had slaughtered, Padmé could not not kill her husband. She loved him too damn much. Not only would this have made for a more tragic end for the pair, but it also would have explained why Anakin was so consumed with rage at the sight of Obi-Wan, as Padmé's act would have better demonstrated that she had truly turned against her husband. Number 2. Luke mourns Han's death, The Last Jedi. During The Last Jedi, Jedi Master Luke Skywalker starts the film as a miserable old man who believes he failed, with it later being revealed that for the briefest moment, he gave in to fear and considered killing his nephew Ben Solo. While some fans despised this, others were even more disappointed by the fact that Luke never got to see Han Solo, who was murdered by his son on Starkiller Base in The Force Awakens. This is possibly one of the biggest missed opportunities in Star Wars history, but The Last Jedi director Rian Johnson did at least address this in a deleted scene. After Luke retreats to his hut, Chewbacca bursts through the door with a defiant roar. Surprised to see his friend and the Millennium Falcon, worry sets in as Luke hesitantly asks, "Where's Han?" In the theatrical edition of the film, the audience are then abruptly whisked away to meet Kylo Ren and his supreme leader. But an extended scene would have shown a devastated Luke, as he realized Han is no longer around. Despite the scene only being seconds long, it would have provided a truly powerful and emotional moment for Skywalker as well as the audience. Number 1. Anakin begs for help, Revenge of the Sith. Episode 3 is an immense dramatic spectacle, with the final battle between Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi arguably being the best lightsaber duel ever. After a fierce and brutal fight, Kenobi finally gets the upper hand by landing on the all-important high ground, and goads his fallen apprentice into jumping, which of course he does. Once Kenobi lands the decisive blow on Skywalker, he leaves him to burn alive. Lovely. That wasn't exactly how it was always going to end though. In the making of Star Wars Revenge of the Sith by J.W. Rinsler, an alternate scene shows Anakin lying on the lava plains begging Obi-Wan for help. From that book, after Anakin implores Obi-Wan to save him, George Lucas asked Ewan McGregor to say, "I will not," softer, almost to himself, because after Anakin bursted into flames, it's as if Obi-Wan was talking to a dead person. Grim. This would have made Skywalker's fall even more tragic, since he was not fully consumed by the dark side, yet was still abandoned by Kenobi. And that's our list. Know of any other scrapped Star Wars movie scenes better than what we got? Well, let us know all about them in the comment section right down below, and don't forget to like, share, and click on that subscribe button while you're down there. Also, if you like this sort of thing, then please head on over to whatculture.com and find some more fantastic articles just like the one this video you're watching right now is based on. I've been Gareth from What Culture Star Wars. May the Force be with you as always. Cheers for stopping by today, and hopefully we'll see you soon. Bye bye.